Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I listened to or saw all of John Dorsey's press conference yesterday, and frankly, I don't think I learned anything. Maybe I learned that Dorsey did talk to his counterpart in Washington, and I couldn't get over the thought that that was just a smokescreen. Then again, this is Washington we're talking about. And oh yeah, I learned there's plenty of football left to be played. At 2-4 with New England waiting in the wings, I don't know if that's good or bad. And when I thought that Dorsey was going to say something about Freddie-Kitchens, he started talking like Kitchens was Vince Lombardi or even Bill Walsh. Then again, if he knocked Kitchens, he'd be knocking the most important decision that Dorsey, has had to make. Anyway, he's right. There's plenty of football left to be played. Let's just sit back and enjoy it. Or not. Jim Ingraham is here. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air.
When I say 10 games are left, that's a lot of football. You know, I've been on 3 different teams and I've been in NFL football for 3 decades. I can remember as a player in like 1984, we wound up 0-7. We started the season at 0-7, but we wound up, I think we wound up somewhere like 7-9 or something like that. And in 1992, I think it was Coach Holmgren's first year on that team, they were 2-5. But they wound up with a winning record. In Kansas City in 2015, I want to say we were at 1-5. Yeah, 1-5. And we wound up going. I'm trying to think what we were. I think we ran 10 straight, and then we eventually made it to the playoffs. But you know, it's the moment now. You have to understand. Everybody within the building has to understand. It's one of those moments where you have to reflect, do attention to detail, and move this thing forward with a sense of urgency, and that's what we're going to do.
From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 24th year, and as always seen on cleveland.com. Jim Ingraham was here. How's my math skills? Am I losing it? John Dorsey's been in the league 3 decades. Does he mean once in the 80s, once in the 90s, once in the teens?
Well, as a player and an executive, I guess that's probably what he means.
Well, it's sort of like my show's on consecutively 24 years.
Not consecutively, because he was out of work for a year until the Browns got him.
So that whole argument is bogus.
Yeah, although he almost made it sound like this is just where we want to be.
2-4 with New England coming up.
He gave all those examples of teams that got the thing reversed in the second half of the season, so yeah. I feel a lot better now.
All right, so what do you make of this team going on up till now? What do you make of what's going to happen in the future? What do you make of this whole thing? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to figure out because, like, what's going right? That's what I mean, aside from the 2 rookie kickers, nothing else is going right or going well right now. And
so you're saying we got them right where we want them?
Yeah, we're giving the opponents a false sense of security. But you know, little do the Patriots know what they got in store for them after they refocused during the bye week. It's just, you know, you've had 2 blowouts. You've had this game last weekend, which wasn't a blowout, and then you know the two wins. They've lost games in every way imaginable, like blowouts, close games they led and then blew the lead.
And now most people just assume that Baker-Mayfield was the quarterback for the next 10 years. Yeah. In the meantime, I'm reading all kinds of articles. Should they have taken Darnold instead, because Darnold's had a couple of good games in a row?
Yeah, that's the position where your entire career is defined in every game you play.
By last week.
Yeah, by last week, yeah. And yeah, I mean, he's among many on this team that has not performed as expected, and that's how you get to be 2-4.
No question about it. This portion of More Sports and Les Levine brought to you by the Ohio Lottery. How does it happen? He looks like well, for the most part, looks like a totally different quarterback than we saw the last half of last year. Yeah. I had picked on the fact that in a couple of the losing games that he was throwing off his back foot, which was justified and substantiated by a bunch of scouts. But then there's games he doesn't do that. Is this because he's afraid of his getting hurt because the line is so bad, or what do you think it is?
Well, I think it does start with the line, because when you're not getting protection, it's hard to look down the field and concentrate and throw accurately, and that's all happening. But I think another valid point is, teams now have a lot of film on him from last year, and they can game plan against him and try to, throw him off why he looked so comfortable last year and now he looks totally uncomfortable this year. I think that's part of it. And I think, these guys aren't getting as open as they were getting last year for whatever reason.
Or to quote Waylon Booth, they're as open as Denny's.
That's true, yeah. And he's just not as accurate. I mean, that's the thing that jumps out the most to me. I mean, last year, if he threw one bad pass accuracy-wise last year, that was a lot for him. This year, almost every pass is not where it should be.
Do you suppose that's why there appears to be many more drops this year than last year, because he is off target?
Well, that's probably part of it. I think the fact that, Odell Beckham did not play in the preseason. They never even played together in a game, I don't think, in the preseason. That didn't help. And I think he's a little skitterish because that line is so leaky that, he doesn't know if he's going to get the pass off before he gets leveled by some defensive lineman.
Yeah. It's amazing what can happen in like fractions of seconds, the way they whittle it down to that, and you can tell if he's getting the proper protection or not. On the other hand, he's got, you say the offensive line is not very good, but they must be good at something, because Nick-Chubb is second in the league in rushing.
Yeah, I think that's probably more of a tribute to Chubb than it is to the line. But yeah, I guess if you had to parse it, you would say they're better run blockers than pass blockers. But you got to be able to do both in this league, obviously, to win. And they're not doing that nearly as much. That San Francisco game just sticks in my head because in that game, both their lines were just completely overwhelmed by the 49ers. And when your lines are subject to those kinds of just being totally taken over by the opposing team, you have no chance to win, no matter how great your position and skill players are.
Do you think some of these players, veterans notably, were waiting to get faith in Freddie-Kitchens and he hasn't delivered on it, or am I making that up?
I have no idea what to make of Kitchens and what he's done and why this doesn't look even remotely close to the way it looked last year. That was the whole reason, I presume, or at least the big part of the reason why he was hired as the coach, because the way the offense looked when he took over the play calling duties last year, that just jumped out at you. And now this year, it's completely reversed. Like they're like stuck in the mud in most of these games.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-levine@gmail.com. Jim, let's back off the Browns for a minute and talk about Game 4 that's coming up, the Yankees and the Houston Astros, and all of a sudden Houston gets a break, believe it or not, because of the weather.
Just what they didn't need.
They have enough breaks.
When the team that has the most talent in the majors starts getting breaks like that, you sometimes think that everything's stacked against you. But, they should beat the Yankees, and maybe they will, but maybe they won't. But, then you've got the Washington sitting there on the other side, and they look like maybe the weakest going into this postseason, and there they are at the World Series. So maybe it's their year. You never know.
And by the way, that goes back to what most of us have been saying all the way along. Just get to the postseason, and anything can happen. I mean, here's a team that was what was their record? How bad was what was the worst?
19
and 31 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
19 and 31, and they're sitting there and. I don't know. Would they be the favorite against New York? Maybe not against Houston.
I don't think they'd be the favorite against either. But the thing about the postseason is you don't have to be the best team.
Right.
You just have to be the best team for 2 weeks. And they could be that. We'll see what happens. But it really does seem on paper that, with the Yankees and the Astros just slugging it out, that team, the winner of that is probably going to be an overwhelming favorite in the World Series.
I had mentioned to you before the show that it seems like you get through the Houston lineup and you figure you're getting to the top and you say, wait a minute, we got 3 more guys to get through here.
Yeah. Though that's the one thing, if they get to the World Series, at least you get to take one of those hitters out of the lineup with no DH. But yeah, it's just a relentless lineup, and they're terrific defensively. They got those 3 stud starters at the top of their rotation. It's just a complete, very impressive team.
And on top of that, they had Michael Brantley.
Yeah, which, how about that signing?
Speaking of signings and trades or whatever, Yan Gomes, you feel happy for him, don't you?
He's a really good guy, and he started off there really bad, and to the point that he lost his job, I think. And Kurt Suzuki started getting most of the starts in the second half. But, Jan had a big hit in was it the first game or the last game? In
game 2.
So he's contributing, and I'm sure he's going to see a lot of action in the World Series, too.
216-575-0403. Do you know that there's over $6.25 million paid out on Ohio Lottery pick games every week? With that amount of winning, stop by your local retailer, try your luck with the Pick 3, Pick 4, and Pick 5 from the Ohio Lottery. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. We throw up questions each day. You respond. We got a whole bunch of good ones later, which we will get to a little bit later. More Sports and Les Levine continues with Jim Ingraham exclusively on cleveland.com.
Downtown Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downtown Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I said as training camp was beginning to, come to the closing days, that the one thing I noticed, this group, they genuinely like being around each other. And that's a sign of a locker room getting close. And I also made a statement, at adverse moments, you'll find out what your team is all about. So right now, you have, the players have 4 days, and they're going to sit there and they're going to think about a lot of things and assess, what can I do? What can I do to help this thing move forward? I thought Freddie's message to the team the last 2 days has been excellent about moving this thing forward, about looking yourself in the mirror. And it's always good sometimes to look yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do to make myself better and the Cleveland Browns better?
This portion of More Sports and Les Levine brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct, northeastfactorydirect.com. Jim Ingraham with us. Jim, Is the bloom coming off the rose here on John Dorsey? Because it looked like everything he did was right, and everybody said in Dorsey we trust. All of a sudden, maybe not so much.
Well, I would even include Kitchens and Mayfield in that triumvirate. I mean, all three of those guys were golden boys coming into the season, and now we're 6 games into the season, and maybe all of a sudden Mayfield's not maybe the franchise quarterback, and Kitchens is not everything that they thought he was going to be, and some of Dorsey's moves have not worked out the way they were supposed to work out. The team he's built to this point is just not very good. I mean, presumably it'll get better, but we don't know. But
so how does that happen? We thought it was a great draft. He made some trades. Everybody thought Odell Beckham and all that, and yet now you get into the point where Freddie-Kitchens, who kind of went hand in hand with Baker-Mayfield last year, part of the reason that Freddie is still here today at the top of the heap. Yet, how is it that they all, I don't want to say fall apart, but I can't think of a better choice of words.
Yeah, I think what Kitchens said the other day about them not being a team, they're a group. He called them a group instead of a team.
Right.
I think there's something to that, and I think, the coach can become an easy target in the locker room for the players if things start bad, and especially a rookie coach and a lot of new players that are just being exposed to Kitchens for the first time. I don't know. There's a lot going on here, and those of us on the outside don't really have a feel for that, but it just looks to me like the whole thing is just a group. They're not a team.
All right, so let's go back to that. Beckham, was Beckham testing Freddie the first couple of weeks with the earring, with the watch, with all that stuff, or was he just being Beckham?
I don't think he was testing Freddie. I think he was testing the league, or just him being himself. Just some guys need to constantly call attention to themselves, and
right.
when he's not able to do that with his sensational catches, he's got other devices that he can do to get the cameras on him, and which is fine as long as you're producing. And to this point he's not, and I don't think it's necessarily all his fault, because you got to throw him the ball once in a while. But there's nothing. Again, I go back to there's no phase of the operation right now that is above average, and it's hard to,
except for running game.
Except for Chubb has been terrific, but the rest of it is just they seem like they're just plugging holes in the dike all the time.
And also it's early in the year, so you haven't gotten. If this is going to turn out to be a bad year, you haven't gotten to that part yet, which means it's going to get worse.
Well, yeah, except for on paper. Again, the schedule gets considerably easier based on the opponents in the second half. Now, if this continues 2 or 3 games into that portion and they're still looking like this, then there's some serious soul searching that has to go on about what's going on here.
Do you expect trades here, a little frustration on the front office, and something might happen during this bye week?
Yeah, I would say frustration. I'd say urgency to improve the line. Those rumors about Trent Williams, that should be a legitimate target for them.
Except he hasn't played a game in 3 seasons.
Well, neither is Greg Hubbard or Greg Robbins.
And they're starting.
Yeah. So
hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, you've got.
But they don't cost as much as Williams will.
That's true. Yeah, but I thought it was, Dorsey. It's good that he came out yesterday and spoke about all this, because general managers need to come out when things are going bad, for that very reason.
The Indians are very good at that.
Yeah, going all the way back to John Hart and Antonetti and Dan O'Dowd. All those guys would always be out there to take the arrows and whatever you want to say when the team was going bad. But Dorsey did what general managers do, which is basically to say, everybody relax. This is not as bad as it seems. I know we're 2-4, but
I'll let you know when it's as bad as it seems.
We got. I really like Freddie. I really like Baker. This team is really coming together, even though it doesn't look like it on the field.
He has to say Freddie is his man and Baker is his man, because those are the 2 biggest choices he made in that position.
Yeah, and in the timeline of these kinds of things, when it ends up bad at the end, there's no middle ground for the general manager. He'll keep talking about those guys like that until the day that he starts making dramatic changes, because it wasn't the way he thought it would be.
No, those particular positions, quarterback with Baker-Mayfield and head coach with Freddie-Kitchens, you don't ease into that. If you're going to make a change, you just make a change.
Yeah. Dorsey, Kitchens, and Mayfield are the 3 most important individuals in the organization right now. And if they're not performing or producing the way as expected, you're not going to have a winning team.
All right, so is Beckham the 4th one in that chain? Because it seems to me, and I don't understand the quarterback position enough. I see it like all of us watch it. It seems to me like Baker Mayfield is forcing the ball into Beckham. Is there anything to that?
There could be, and there's nothing wrong with that, because he's shown that he's good on one-on-one matchups of just wrestling the ball away from defenders. Think back to last year. That offense looked the way it looked without Beckham. So it's not like if he doesn't do it, it's not going to get done. They've got some other weapons, and Kareem Hunt is still not playing yet. So how that changes the flow, who knows? But I think Beckham's the focal point, understandably so. This was a functioning, productive offense last year without him, and something has been lost in the translation from Kitchens as a play caller last year to Kitchens as a head coach and play caller this year.
What might have happened is Hollywood Higgins why he wasn't in the lineup or somewhere on the field.
That didn't bother me as much as the explanation for why that was so, because the exact same explanation would have held for Callaway in going into the 49ers game.
Before,
He was only back for a week, and the same thing applied to Higgins.
Yeah, but you would think both guys are not equal. Just because one guy struggled doesn't mean the next guy's going to struggle. Yeah, right. And I mean, and Higgins was the one guy that Baker seemed to have a good chemistry with last year, and I still don't think there's any chemistry between him and Beckham. No, not yet. 216-575-0403. Email us during the show at real-leslevine@gmail.com. No gimmicks at Northeast Factory Direct. No deceiving blowout sales. Just no typical retail nonsense. Just 3 huge bare-bone stores and warehouses. And they're at East Side, West Side, and South Side. East and West. On the west, you got it at West 140th Street. Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and then you got the Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia. Or go to northeastfactorydirect.com for more information. The bottom line is nobody is going to touch their everyday savings or quality. If you want big ticket items and want to pay more, then go somewhere else. If you want to pay less, go to northeastfactorydirect.com. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Catch the excitement of live harness racing, and you can do that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with the post time 6 p.m. Then you've got it at 6:40 on Saturdays and Sundays, but they're open early at noon every day for simulcast action from all over the world. Open early every day, and of course every Sunday they've got the weekly Sunday contest featuring Belmont. Top prize $500 in cash each and every week. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Jim Ingraham and I return in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
Oh, gosh. Playing Ohio Lottery Pick 3, I see. What are you going to do? A box bed, a split pairs, or a wheel? Well, old Picky Ricky here is a straight shooter.
Okay.
It razzes my berries when newbies think betting's hard. Straight bets are easy peasy. Just match 3 numbers in order and win the old-fashioned way. This, on the other hand, is not so simple. Oh, God. Oh, jeez Louise. Play the Ohio Lottery Pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
We see now a lot of places are timing protection, how fast the ball comes out, 2.82 seconds and all that kind of stuff. What's a realistic expectation in your mind for how long your guys need to hold people off?
Well, you're probably, if we're going by a stopwatch, you're asking the wrong person, because I don't believe in stopwatches. I think it's a bunch of hogwash. I think you protect until as long as it takes him to throw the damn ball. End of discussion. Period. You block until as much time as he needs to throw the ball. I've always believed that, and I will not stop teaching that.
First of all, that was not Freddie-Kitchens. That was the associate coach who helps him out. and that's James Campen, who 20 years with Green Bay, coach and player.
And he sounds like an old school guy.
He is as old school as he gets. I don't care about stopwatches. Just block until you don't have to block anymore.
Yeah, that's my kind of guy.
That's an excellent point. At what point? I mean, this is still salvageable this season.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned the division is at a low ebb, probably for the worst it's been in numerous years.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you run 3 in a row off after the New England game, maybe, and you're right back in the hunt.
And you wonder on Pittsburgh, is this going to be the end of Roethlisberger?
Yeah, I mean, it would probably take Mason Rudolph, who's not in there right now, to kind of emerge in this opportunity he's getting, which I don't know if that's likely or not, but. Yeah, I mean, he's old, and he's injured with an injured elbow with a quarterback.
That's not good.
No, yeah, so it could be.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to BP, who's in Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, BP. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Just unfortunately, I've witnessed 2 Browns home losses, since the season started in person.
What do you think? You're the only guy?
Yeah, felt like it. The only, it's been a really disappointing start to the season. I'm not ready to give up on the Browns yet. I wish they were playing anybody but New England on next Sunday.
Actually, I feel just get it over with and then move on and get what should be the easier part of the schedule. If the players aren't too far down about that. You agree with that, Jim?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping they can win. I mean, maybe the Jets will soften them up somehow. They're going to be on the road at the Jets. Maybe, they'll probably beat the Jets, but maybe, the schedule, maybe we'll sort of win one through the schedule, or they'll have a short week, we'll be rested. I don't know. I have not been impressed with Freddie-Kitchens, play calling, game management, so I don't know what to expect out of him. Hopefully he'll improve, because as far as I'm concerned, he's got a 1-year audition here.
Jim and to BP, 3 times now, 4 times, because they've lost 4, Freddie-Kitchens has said, this is on me. We got to coach better. We got to do this. We got to do that. Somebody should advise him, enough of that. That's getting old. And if you keep saying it's on you, it's going to be on you.
Yeah, the longer it's like this, the more it's going to be on you.
The more on you it is
until
going to be.
You get to the end of the season and it's on nobody but you.
Right. If he says it's on me, then it's on the quarterback, then it's on the wide receiver, then it's on the defense. They'd have to have 47 games to satisfy those statements.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen this week with New England.
The fiasco, before the half, where he had Baker-Mayfield throwing into triple coverage, trying to, and he thought he was going to score, then hold, Seattle, then score again. I mean, that's with a minute and a half to go.
Hold on one second. Did you hear that part? He thought he was going to score, then score again. Yeah. They haven't been able to score once in the red zone. All of a sudden, they're going to do it twice?
Yeah, like all of a sudden, out of the blue, they're going to have 3 spectacular series in a row.
Yeah. Like Russell Wilson is going to throw the ball into their hands? Right. Yeah. You're right, BP. Absolutely.
The NFL, though, the penalties have been very, the referees, like the whole country saw it on the Monday night game, the Lions and the Packers, but I've been seeing a lot of horrible refereeing this whole season with the Browns games. What are your thoughts
I'll ask
on
you.
The Browns game?
This is Broadcast 101. I'm going to turn it on you. What would you do if you were the NFL? Because
I was watching the NBA last night. Now, the NBA has a new rule with when you, what do you call it? When the reviews, each team is given 1 challenge for the entire game. That's it.
That's
one
it?
challenge. And then,
but they have 37 timeouts.
A green siren goes on by the bench of each team, and they got to simplify these things. And I think the referees are just calling too many ticky-tack. These holds that aren't even holds. You could call holding on every play in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then,
I'll tell you what, in the NFL,
Jarvis-Landry on that phantom block. I mean, that was ridiculous.
It's terrible. When you take a look at the NFL in general, though, and somebody will suggest that they should be full-time referees, I'm not sure how that would ever help the situation. Jim, would that alleviate it in any way?
Maybe it would at least look better. But the one thing I would do is, I can't remember who suggested it first, but just have an official in the press box in the booth,
right? And
when a penalty's called, he sees immediately,
right?
And then if it's not a penalty, he just calls down and says, "No, that's not a penalty."
Or a challenge, you just say, "No, his foot touched the out of bounds line," or whatever.
But I mean, this is really easy to correct all these bogus calls that have been made. You get the guy upstairs who immediately said it wouldn't take any time at all. He just calls down and says, "No, that's not a penalty. Let's keep it going."
Yeah, pick it up. Yeah. I think when the referees are going under the hood. It's almost like in baseball when they come out with all 4 umpires, and they're afraid to pin it on one guy. They're afraid to, call out one of their own.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I mean, it's unavoidable. I mean, like in baseball, there's only one first base umpire, so it's
either
him.
out or he's safe.
And the guy that calls the penalty, that if it gets overturned, so what? I mean, it might even be an inducement to the referees to, be a little more efficient with what they're calling.
BP, you're the biggest Cavs fan that I know. Tell me how many wins you expect for this team. Starts on Wednesday.
I mean, unfortunately, I did catch some of the Cavs game the other night. The home game, they lost to the Celtics third stringers, and the Cavs were playing their starters.
Right.
So
that didn't answer my question.
Yes, it did.
I'm getting to that. But John Beilein, I don't know what he was smoking back there in Ann Arbor, but I think he should go back there because, I mean, this is not going to be pretty. He's going to lose more games in one season than he probably lost in the last 10 years at Michigan.
Yeah,
so
probably
I say they're going to win less than 20 games.
Ouch. All right,
Yep.
BP. Enjoy the season.
No, I'll still watch some of the Cavs, but I'm not even happy with their draft pick. They've basically drafted 2 6'1" point guards the last 2 years. That's not a great scenario.
All right, BP, thank you for the call. Explore your interests and find a program at Tri-C that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll come on back in a moment. Jim Ingraham is with us. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at our Facebook question of the week. Today we asked the following question: what changes would you like to see the Browns make during the bye week? So we'll take a look. Dennis Davis says, make Chubb the focal point of the offense, establish the run to set up a consistent short to medium passing game, get the ball to Beckham and Landry in space. This will lead up some clock also, keeping the defense off the field so much. Focus the team on winning and not worrying about how many touches people are getting. Andy Mee says the offense needs to use the bye week to become more consistent by getting more reps together to develop the chemistry, namely Baker and OBJ. Too much talent on that side of the ball to be inconsistent and terrible in the red zone. They must come together and play as a team, not as individuals. Melvin Stickle says, get Williams from the Skins. Kevin Quinby, stop forcing the ball to OBJ, utilize Chubb more effectively. And Michael Fettman says, bring Bernie into Coach Baker. I mean, there's nobody around that understands the quarterback position as Bernie Kosar, but there's no way a head coach or an offensive coordinator or a quarterback's coach is going to allow that to happen.
No, and especially like now, you don't do something like that now because it sends a bad message to the rest of your coaching staff, for one thing.
So what do? You're Freddie-Kitchens, you're John Dorsey. What do you do during this week and a half off?
Well, if I'm Dorsey, I definitely trade for a tackle that you can plug into the line. The sooner the better. And Kitchens, I don't know. You know, here's the thing. they could do all the right things during the bye week, but then you're playing New England right out of the chute. So
and you're down 17-0.
Once that blowout's over, then the season resumes, and we can fairly judge them.
Can
once
you
again.
use that as a scouting report? All right, we can't possibly beat these guys, so we're thinking about game number 8.
Well, you don't say that, but I mean, you try to honestly prepare your team for, the best team in the league.
Right.
And we probably has there been a line on that, or no? There wouldn't be.
I haven't seen it. No, there wouldn't be if you're skipping a week.
Yeah.
I wonder, however, if New England's going. This will be the year they go undefeated.
Well, that could be. Yeah, I mean their division's really bad too.
It always has been.
Yeah,
People
although
overlook.
Buffalo's not too bad, I don't think.
They're getting better.
Yeah, the rest of the division.
But Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets, they've been terrible for so long. It's almost like an automatic 5-6 wins right
they not only do they win it every year, they don't even have road playoff games. It doesn't seem like most of the time. Everything's at home for them. So yeah, I mean Kitchens has just got to try to get everybody together on the same page and just look like a team, a cohesive, competitive team, and then go from there.
Let's go back to the Indians for a minute. Do you expect any signings at all of any consequence?
Not really. No, I think they're just gonna. They won't. I don't think they'll be cutting any more salary, but they're not going to be. I don't think bringing in any big ticket items, as they say. I think one thing to look at maybe is Yasiel Puig. I don't think they particularly want to break the bank to bring him back, or even not break the bank and bring him back. But if he goes out there and sees nothing of substance as far as a contract offer, maybe he comes back and signs a cheap 1-year deal with them again, and they keep
cheap.
him.
He wasn't so cheap. What was he? $9
million. Yeah.
There's not going to be a $15 million player out there, is there?
No, I mean
a $15 million team. I mean.
Yeah, I mean guys in his category are the ones that are getting squeezed the most in free agency. So I would say the chances of him getting a big contract are pretty slim. So, it sounds like
it seemed like he liked it.
Yeah, exactly. And
unless it was fake out for.
No,
contract.
I think he seemed to get along with everybody. So it wouldn't surprise me if they brought him back, but it would be more of a surprise, I guess, than if he left.
You think the ball has been juiced or unjuiced for the postseason? There's been rumors out there.
Yeah. When it comes to the ball, whatever the current rumor is, I'm totally in on.
100%
because in Major League
100%.
Baseball, you can't trust what they're saying about it because it's clearly the statistics tell you one thing and they're trying to tell you something else. So it seems like there's less home runs per swing in the postseason than there have been.
Well, you got better pitchers.
Yeah, but you also got better hitters. Yeah. So it's it got so like it was hard to even watch games. It was just like home run derby.
I was talking to Hoynesy last night, and I said, so-and-so is up, and he's got 39 home runs. He said, how can he have 39 home runs? I never heard of the guy.
Yeah, that happened to me a lot this year. Like, you'd be looking at the other team's lineup, and there'd be a guy with 25 home runs who you literally never heard of who this guy is. And it's like, if you didn't hit like 20 home runs this year, you're like a nobody.
How about Franmil Reyes? Did you know anything about him coming in?
No. In fact, when they made the trade and I looked, he had what?
27 homers
at the time. That
they said, well, that's in the minor leagues. No, that's in the major leagues.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what I'm talking about. Guys that don't have any kind of profile or star power are hitting home runs that used to be only Hank Aaron would hit that many.
It's unbelievable. And guys, this is not to really criticize Chris Antonetti, but Chris Antonetti was not a believer in launch angles at one time, wasn't a believer in the home run. He didn't like strikeouts, right? He liked guys moving the ball around.
I think they didn't mind strikeouts, actually.
They didn't mind strikeouts? Yeah, well, they did want you to move the ball, hit the ball and move runners around. They don't seem to care anymore.
Initially, I remember having discussions with him and some of the other guys, and they always maintained that strikeouts are just another out, which I disagree with.
Especially with how bad the fielding is out there.
But now we're to the point where if strikeouts are the trade-off for 30 home runs by guys you've never heard of, Major League teams are fine with that.
Sure.
So that's where we are.
Who would have thought we'd be talking about launch angles?
Yeah. It's the game's been turned into a science project now.
And I'm also wondering if they're trying to get the younger audience involved. Do you think having different stats than you and I grew up on, do you think that's going to do it?
Well, I don't think that was the intent of the different stats. The intent was to give you further tools to better evaluate players, which I think there's value in that. But I think you can go overboard on that just as you can go overboard on almost anything. And I think that a lot of it is taking just the baseball out of baseball.
Yeah. All right, how about 50 sofas at around $399 and solid wood bunk sets from $299? That's what you're going to find at Northeast Factory Direct with their east, west, and south locations. There you have it at Lakeside Boulevard. That's the east one in Euclid. The west 140th Street, obviously west, and Freeway Drive in Macedonia is south. Or go to northeastfactorydirect.com for more information. Every Saturday in the month of October at Sokolowski's University Inn, it's the clam bake. Boy, were they mobbed today. No clam bake today, but it was as big a crowd as I've ever seen. It's Yogi Berra's call that nobody goes there, it's too crowded. Well, that's what happened here, except everybody goes there. Chicken or New York strip, clams, broth, New England clam chowder, redskin potatoes, candy yams, sweet corn, garlic toast, and more, including pumpkin or apple pie, all from the clam bake every Saturday in October at Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come on back in a moment. Jim Ingraham is with us. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
Birthdays for today: Buck Ewing, born on this date. Paul Derringer, 1906. Luminary, a lot of luminaries were invited to the party. 1947. Danny Ferry, seen on the left. John Rocker, not seen on the right. And Cargo. He wound up with him.
Where did Cargo, by the
way? Did he wind up with anybody the rest of the season?
He went to the Cubs briefly, and then I think he was put out to pasture. I think.
It's a nice way of saying that. I don't knock that move, by the way, when they got him.
No, I don't either.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Time for a How Come Quickie. How come, Jim, when the mailman comes, the checks are late, but the bills always are on time? How's that possible?
Yeah, they should have like a national day where that's reversed.
One day out of 365.
Yeah, the bills are late and the checks are early.
Exactly. Hey, I'll be on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow from 10 until 2, in with Andy Baskin, in for Jeff Phelps. That'll be tomorrow from 10 to 2 on 92.3 The Fan. Ted Moon writes in. He says, hi, Les and Jim. Do you think that John Clayton was correct saying that Freddie-Kitchens was almost fired after the Seattle game? I hope not. ESPN radio host 710 in Seattle, Clayton said on 93.7 The Fan that Freddie-Kitchens was almost fired after the loss. He said, speaking of Cleveland's dysfunction, Clayton said, I was there on Sunday. There's a lot of talk that Freddie-Kitchens was almost fired after Seattle's loss. He added that the way it's heading, there's no way that you're going to have Kitchens back next year. In fact, there were some rumors that he was in the pregame that he could have gotten fired after this game. What do you think?
I find that hard to believe because if Dorsey were to fire him this quickly, that would call into question Dorsey's judgment in hiring him in the first place.
Exactly.
And I don't think Dorsey would want to do that.
Probably not. What would he want to do?
Well, you got to give it time. You got to give him, if not a full year, really close to a full year, because he's a first-year coach. I mean, there's a little learning curve going on here. Just because you're the head coach doesn't mean you've got all the answers. And
do you think some of these stories that get out there wouldn't be out there if guys didn't attach their names to it? They're so in a hurry to get credit for the report that they don't care if they're right or wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the media nowadays. You know, with the internet and everything, there's just a lot of, you can throw anything against the wall as often as you want to, and you can, it's the person that shouts the loudest that gets the most notice, and that's what getting hits online are more important than accuracy in some cases.
One more segment to go with Jim Ingraham, and you can reach us at 216-575-0403. If you get it in really quick during the break, you can email us at real-les-levine@gmail.com. We'll check out some How Come Quickies that were sent in and more. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of harness racing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with the post time 6 p.m. 6:40 is the post time on Saturday and Sunday. The weekly Sunday contest features Belmont Park. Top prize $500 in cash each and every week. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Jim and I return one more time exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
This date in sports history, remember this one, Jim? October 17th, 1995, Kenny Lofton scores from second base on a wild pitch. Indians go on to defeat Seattle 4-0, and they go to the World Series for the first time since 1954. Cleveland beat Seattle 4-2. I believe you might remember that.
Yes, although it was actually a pass ball, not a wild pitch.
Oh.
Dan Wilson.
You're absolutely correct.
It was an electrifying moment, though. That really was.
Unbelievable. To me, what was it the same year when Omar either did or didn't bunt at the ball and the ball got by the catcher?
No, that was 97.
97.
When they had all those improbable endings to those playoff
You don't think
games.
Omar will ever admit what happened?
No, he admitted that he missed it, and then turned into a hero anyway.
Yes, he did.
That's when you know you're going good.
This from Tom Randazzo. Good evening, Les and Jim. As much of a fan of Dorsey, I think he got carried away sending last year's number one for Beckham. I was fine with our young receivers. The offensive line was the most suspect unit on the team. As far as Kitchens goes, he's been in every aspect, horrible scheme, and as well as poor play calling and use of personnel, not to mention the mind-numbing game time decisions. That covers most of it, right?
So he doesn't like him?
Apparently he does not like him. All right, you ready to judge some How Come Quickies?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I just have to, I hate to give, not warnings. I just hate to impugn anybody who sends in How Come Quickies. I appreciate them. But some are towing the line.
Oh, yeah?
Just thought I'd say that.
So you want him to back off the line?
Back off the line a little bit. Don't get hurt if you fall over. Take a deep breath. And if you send me 4 and I only read 3, don't be mad at me for that either. Mitch in Kent says, how come the plastic surgeon found the uncooperative patient in a nip and tuck situation?
I'll give that a 6.
How come the wife of the cheating violinist found herself to be playing second fiddle? That's okay.
That's an 8.
How come someone who writes songs about sewing machines is called a singer-songwriter? Okay.
I'll give that a 9.
You give that one a 9?
Yeah.
All right, let me just tell you something. Mitch, I can't give you the 4th one. It's good. That's how I hate to preface it. It's good, but it's not usable. I'll show it to you.
There's a difference.
There is a difference. This from Big Ed. How come I used to think I was indecisive, but now I'm not so sure? How come they call it beauty sleep, but we wake up looking terrible?
Give that a 6 and an 8.
6 and an 8 is 14. That's not bad. Here we go. Mr. Gullible comes in. How come the man on the park bench wearing 5 watches sure has a lot of time on his hands?
Actually, it's on his wrist.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, but there's hands on the watch.
That's true.
How come a plateau is the highest form of flattery?
I don't think it is.
No, there's got to be higher ones than that.
Yeah.
John Patrick, how come I was really agitated when I fell in the washing machine? You got to like that one. Can't give it a 10, but...
No, I'll go 9.
9 is good.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for washing
machine jokes.
There's not enough of that in the country these days.
All right, tell me what the Browns finish at record-wise. They're 2-4 right now.
2-4 now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 8-8. How about that?
8-8. What did you say at the beginning of the season?
I don't think I said
27-1.
I don't think I said. I might have said 9-7. But
okay, so
don't hold me to that.
You're coming down to 8
down
and 8.
One notch. I think the schedule is going to be their friend in the last couple months.
Yes, if the team doesn't give up by then.
Yeah. I mean, they're at a fragile stage right now, and again, it's unfortunate they got to play the world's greatest team coming out of the break because it's going to skew our opinion on them because probably all the stuff they did to change what's going on isn't going to make a
Isn't
difference.
it funny how you play the schedule game at the beginning of the season, and then now they're 2-4, and I don't know. Do you think people would have had it the way it's come out?
I don't think so. I mean, they were,
Most people would have thought the Rams would have been a win.
I think most people would have thought 4-2 or 5-1 at this point at the beginning of the year, but it's not, and now everybody's in scramble mode.
And will freddie-kitchens be the man? Will he be the coach next year?
Next year, I'd say it's 50-50. How's that for sitting on the fence?
Russell Wilson. Will Russell Wilson throw an interception this year?
Maybe not.
He may not.
Yeah. He's got good receivers and he's a good quarterback. And they give him time to throw. So, yeah.
Who wins the Houston-New York series going on right now?
Houston.
Houston wins it.
In fact, I don't think they'll lose another game to the Yankees. I think
so they'll win in 5.
Yeah. I just think they're the perfect team.
Okay.
I
think I know your answer to this. Yeah. Houston versus Washington.
My head says Houston. My heart would say Washington because it's their first time ever in the World Series. Or not ever.
Well, in the 30s, when they were the Senators.
Yeah. The old Montreal franchise. I guess. Yeah.
And of course, if they play New York, we will be bombarded with whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. The Joe Hardy thing. Washington
that's
versus
a perfect
the Yankees.
Fit. Yeah, that's damn Yankees.
If you could get one player who's gettable for next year for the Indians, who would it be?
For the Indians,
from the guys who we think are going to be free agents and who might be within their money range and whatever else.
Well, I mean, there is nobody that's a lock to. All the best players are beyond their reach. And I don't think they necessarily need a star outfielder. Just a productive professional hitter in the outfield would be enough.
Okay.
Because they don't really have that still.
I don't know if we pursued it last break, but would you take Puig if he was available? Based on what you saw of him this past year?
You know, that time in Minnesota where he just hit a ball and just walked right to the dugout, I have a hard time getting over that, and I don't think Francona has and others don't. But to me, when you see a guy just quit right in one of the biggest games of the year against your number one rival, that's the hard thing to justify. And I know he's a kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, but he's just a little bit off the grid for my taste. But he's probably got more potential than any outfielder that's coming back.
How about that he only hit 2 home runs for the Indians?
Yeah, that is very odd. Yeah, and that's not like the Progressive Field's a bad home run park.
Do you think he was thinking somebody's going to look at him and say, "What's that?" And he's going to throw the ball to the dugout to get him?
What it might have been is he knows he was playing for a contract and he was probably trying to hit too many home runs, so he hit not enough.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. Who's the best player in baseball now?
Probably Trout, but I'd put Christian Yelich really close, and Alex Bregman.
Yeah, we don't get to see too much. Bregman we see.
Bregman is a terrific player. Yeah, I think he's the guy that, you know, he's probably 1A to me to Trout as far as everything you want in a player. You know, from competitiveness to skill to, you know, defense, offense, running. I mean, he's just an all-around terrific player.
And he's young.
He's young, and
he hustles every play.
And he's the last guy you want to face in a clutch situation.
Right.
In that
and
line.
You know what impressed me about him? Well, almost everything. But he has no qualms about just hitting a ground ball to the open space. If they're gonna have the shift on you, he's not trying to hit through the shift. He's trying to get on base, and he does it very well.
He puts up huge numbers, and he's the ultimate team guy too, because he really understands the game, and there's not a single flaw that I can see in his game. He's going to be I mean, you talk about guys that are in the game now that are going to be Hall of Famers. He's one of them, I think, for sure.
Joe Madden, will he get it done in California, Los Angeles?
He might. I presume when you get Joe Madden, you're committing to spending more money. And, you know, Artie Moreno, the owner out there, has already spent a lot. But, you know, they have to do it now because they're wasting the greatest player maybe in history's career. You know, no one ever sees Trout.
They're still stuck with Pujols, though. In that contract.
Yeah, that contract. Then there's no way to trade him. You might as well just release him because the money's, you're not going to get anything for the money anyway. You might as well use the roster spot on someone else.
All right, great job by Jim Ingraham, as always. We'll have him on very, very soon. That'll do it for us. Again, I'm on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow morning, and for Jeff Phelps in with Andy Baskin. That's on 92.3 The Fan from 10 until 2. I'll see you here on Monday night. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.